Round 2 of the NBA playoffs started off with a heated pack of games. Let's start with the Wolves and the Nuggets. Now, this could arguably be considered the pinnacle moment in the history of the Timberwolves franchise. After sweeping the Suns in the first round, they've now secured 2 victories against the defending champion Nuggets, and they did it in Denver. As they return home with a tremendous lead in the Western Conference semifinals, the momentum is firmly in their favor. While the series score stands at just 2-0, every aspect of these games overwhelmingly favors the Wolves. So far in the series, they've had the best player, they've stolen home court advantage, and they've demonstrated one of the greatest defensive performances the modern NBA has ever seen. And maybe, just maybe, defense still wins championships. Game 2's defensive performance was nothing short of a masterclass. The Timberwolves displayed impeccable rotations, relentless aggression, unwavering hustle, and actively quick hands. Their defensive execution surpassed anything we've seen in the NBA postseason thus far, and really in recent history. Should this defensive trend persist, Minnesota has the potential to etch itself in NBA history. The Timberwolves' precision in defensive execution is reminiscent of the stifling defense exhibited by the championship-era Chicago Bulls, led by the likes of Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. Notably, the Timberwolves achieved this defensive excellence without the presence of Rudy Gobert, likely this year's NBA Defensive Player of the Year. In the first half of Game 2, the Nuggets were limited to just 35 points, with a mere 15 points scored in the second quarter, resulting in a season-low total of 80 points for the game. Minnesota's defensive prowess was evident as they disrupted Denver's passing lanes and effectively neutralized their key offensive threats. Despite building a substantial lead, the Timberwolves maintained their relentless defensive pressure without relenting, refusing to show any signs of mercy. The Nuggets have been sloppy all postseason, but their experience and chemistry has been enough to come back when down in the first round. That's not the case against this Wolves team, who not only has the best defense in the league, but is firing on all cylinders on offense as well. Last night, the Nuggets totally fell apart. In their championship run last year, and for much of the regular season this year, the Nuggets seemed unbeatable at home, but right now, they look like they're the team unfamiliar with the elevation of Denver. Last night, they looked frustrated, perplexed, and really immature. It's important to note that they've never encountered a setback of this magnitude before. They suffered just 1 defeat at home in the 2023 playoffs and have now dropped 2 consecutive playoff games. They find themselves thoroughly outplayed and honestly embarrassed. The Timberwolves held a commanding 26-point lead at halftime, and the disparity in performance suggests the scoreline didn't fully reflect the total dominance. Maybe Denver simply lacks the means to contend against this formidable, swift team, spearheaded by Anthony Edwards. Nikola Jokic has largely been ineffective against Minnesota's formidable size and crafty wing defenders, who converge on him whenever he attempts to dribble. In this series, Jokic is averaging 5.5 turnovers per game. Michael Porter Jr., who was a bright spot in the first round, is encountering fewer opportunities for open looks. And then Jamal Murray, hampered by a sore calf, appears disoriented in the face of relentless pressure from Jaden McDaniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and really anyone the Wolves throw at him. Murray's shooting woes persisted as he managed just a 1 for 10 performance in the first half of the game. Minnesota's flawless game plan, executed to perfection, has left the Nuggets at a loss for answers. Now, one more thing about Jamal Murray. During the first half, there was a brief pause in play to clear the court of something that was thrown inside. While it initially seemed like something was thrown from the fans, that wasn't the case. Murray expressed frustration all game towards the refs, but this was inexcusable. Jamal Murray likely has some form of punishment coming from the league, but perhaps the greatest punishment they could give would be forcing him to play against the Wolves' defense again. If Murray is suspended from future games in this series, or really plays the way he's been playing, it's hard to see the Wolves dropping a game. Now, let's move on to New York versus Indiana. In this postseason, Madison Square Garden has hosted 4 games, all of which have been decided by 3 points or less in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. It's become the ideal setting for exciting playoff basketball. This was obviously the case in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinal series, resulting in a thrilling 121-117 victory for the Knicks. While these 48 minutes differed significantly from the Knicks' first-round series against the 76ers, they ultimately followed a similar narrative. Once again, Dante DiVincenzo delivered the pivotal moment of the night, sinking a 29-foot catch-and-shoot three-pointer to give the Knicks a 3-point lead with 39.4 seconds remaining. Josh Hart continued his impactful performance, playing the entire 48 minutes and securing crucial offensive rebounds. And once again, Jalen Brunson showcased offensive dominance, scoring another 40-point game. At this point, there's little left to add about Brunson. Game after game, he displays relentless offensive prowess, showcasing a diverse range of moves and footwork to score and draw fouls. In Monday's game, he went a perfect 14 for 14 from the free throw line and 14 for 26 from the field, totaling 43 points in 43.5 minutes of play. This remarkable performance solidified his place in NBA history as the fourth player to achieve 4 consecutive 40-point games in the playoffs, joining the ranks of Jerry West, Bernard King, and Michael Jordan. Brunson's most impressive display came in the fourth quarter, where the Knicks amassed an astonishing 39 points on 24 possessions. Brunson accounted for 21 of those 39 points, delivering another example of his scoring versatility to close out the game. Early on, it became evident that this series would offer a clear departure from the defensive dynamics observed in the Knicks' first-round matchup against the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey posed unique challenges for the Knicks. Embiid proved difficult to prevent from drawing fouls, while Maxey's dribble penetration is always dangerous. However, the offensive approach of the Sixers differed significantly from the Pacers. The Sixers operate at a more deliberate pace, with less fluid ball movement compared to the Pacers' rapid attacking style. Leading into the series, Indiana led the playoffs in both ball movement, averaging 397 passes per 24 minutes of possession, and player movement, covering 11.8 miles per 24 minutes of possession. This was clearly seen in Game 1. The Pacers tallied 28 points in transition, surpassing the Sixers' highest transition scoring tally in any of their 6 games against New York in the first round. In the early stages of the third quarter, following a Knicks score, Halliburton initiated a long pass that led to a corner 3 from Siakam after 3 additional passes. This is key for the Pacers. Pace extends beyond merely transitioning from one end of the floor to the other. It also encompasses the speed of actions within a team's half-court offense. With their ball movement and quick decision-making, the Pacers pose a continual challenge for the Knicks defense, which really hasn't been as effective in the playoffs as it was during the regular season. Even after one game in this series, it's clear that every moment counts. In a crucial moment, the Pacers possessed the ball trailing by just 1 point, with less than 15 seconds remaining. But let's take a step back. In the fourth quarter, the Knicks capitalized on 2 free points from away from the play fouls committed by the Pacers, occurring before the ball was inbounded. The first instance resulted from a skillful fake by DiVincenzo, while the second allowed New York to extend their lead to 4 in the final seconds, denying Indiana an opportunity to equalize. This sequence proved detrimental for the Pacers in such a critical moment. However, this was not the lone misstep for the Pacers in the fourth quarter. Reckless steal attempts and untimely mistakes were also present. This gamble in particular was huge. As Nesmith went for the steal, he left a wide open lane for Josh Hart. Nesmith abandoning his assignment led Hart to an and-one opportunity. Josh Hart then missed the free throw, got his own rebound, and scored again. Then later, just prior to DiVincenzo's pivotal go-ahead three-pointer, Nesmith was penalized for a kickball violation, despite the ball making contact with his hand rather than his foot. Although the Pacers would have gained possession of that loose ball, the call stood unreviewable, allowing the Knicks to retain possession and ultimately seize the lead on the subsequent play. In this series, every mistake really matters for players, coaches, and refs. What's your favorite moment of the playoffs so far? Let us know in the comments. And thanks for watching Sports Pantheon.